So what's going to happen here is we're going to resume with the portion that we recorded last year. Now, at the beginning part, you're going to hear me talk a little bit about the water tank and kind of wondering what's going on with the water tank. And I actually surprised myself because I pretty much nailed it. You know, I assumed that because the water tank was so far off the grade, there had to be some sort of standpipe closer to the grade to feed into the water tank. And I got it completely correct. So in any case, let's resume with the original video. Okay, so after seeing a few things, let's resume our journey here. So one of the little afterthought here about the water tank. So it seems, you know, talking to Murray, he said he does have a picture that shows the water tank, and he said definitely was on the west side of the grade. So maybe what if situation was, and I was thinking at some of the debris that I saw there, and it looked like there were some smaller pipes. Could it have been a situation where the water tank was well off the grade and then they used a siphon pipe to refill the engines? Like, I was just sort of thinking to myself, going, there's no trace of a concrete pad or anything closer to the grade. So, you know, that could have very well been the situation. Okay, so we need to move a little bit more here. We're inching our way closer to the end. Let me pause here and put my camera. What's the time? 1:33. So is that 1:33 or no? That's probably 2:33. So it is very, very late. This has been a very, very slow hike. Poor Noah. I'm killing the poor kid here. So again, just working our way through the siding here. Murray did mention to me that there was a small little siding up here, and or you know, a small secondary siding, and there would have been a school car to serve the kids of the people that lived here. And that was a very common thing. You don't see them listed. The only one that I know, I think, is listed where it says education department or something like that, I think was at Yond. I think there was one at Yond, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was one of the other ones in the area. So another telegraph pole here. Got some cloud. We'll see if it snows again. All right, let's hold up here for a second and then we'll continue on. All right, so you'll notice I did pull Luna out of the trailer when we were looking at stuff again. There's no way I could have left her in the trailer while I was kind of walking around. So I believe the siding continues here up until we get to the bend. Still cold out. So here there's a little bit of a cut. You can see how far back this side is, obviously because of the siding here. So here you can see that there's a spot where This, I'm guessing this was probably done afterwards. They removed some additional ballast. Let's give that lens a wipe. I can feel some little things coming down on my face. We're gonna hold up right up here, because I believe this is where the siding comes to an end, right about here, right up here, and we actually have another point of interest here. So you can see a couple of structures on the, I guess you could say, east side of the grade. There's a telegraph pole there. So these look like section houses, right, or bunkhouses, or something to do with the railway. You could see they're identical, and I've seen buildings like this, you know, in pictures and other areas as well that look exactly like that. Okay, so this basically brings us to the end of Quorn here, so we'll hold up for a minute and then we'll continue on. Alrighty, here we go again. So let's leave these couple buildings behind. Let's leave Quorn Station behind. We're getting close to the end of our hike here. Again, I feel bad for Noah because he's been sitting there for a long time. This took a long time, this hike. Spend a lot of time around Quorn, a lot of time chit-chatting with Murray and Susan, and then waiting for it to stop snowing. You can see the beautiful look on the tamaracks. You can see some few little leaves here left on some trees. So this is the mighty English River. So this is the biggest river, the biggest river in the area, and we are going to be crossing it very shortly on a trestle before we approach Selwyn Lake. So basically the English River empties into Selwyn Lake, forms Selwyn Lake, and then continues on. Again, it is the biggest river in the area, and I think, if I read correctly, I think it is like 500 kilometers long or something like that. I'll put it up on the screen. I actually looked it up because in our next section, when we do like Reba and Soden, we are right beside it constantly for quite a long period of time. And so I was curious, so I looked it up, and it is a very, very long river. Again, you can see here, it looks like they've removed material from the sides of the cut. And again, probably would have used that for ballast. Again, some really sad looking telegraph poles here, all coming apart. Oh, that wind is cold. At least it's not snowing. Sheesh. What a day. What a few days. Even coming up here yesterday, it would rain and then it would stop, and then it would rain and then it would stop. Everything was soaked. Like, thankfully all our gear was stowed away, but the bike was all soaked. And so we do have some telegraph poles here that we're going to start pointing out as we move along here. Okay, let's zip ahead until we get there. Alright, so we're getting into a cut here. Again, you'd be able to see it a little bit better if there was some cloud, but there isn't any. We got to be coming up on those telegraph poles soon. A few hundred meters. Problem with using gloves, every time I touch the GPS it screws something up. They're not very articulate. Okay, where's my mark here? There's my mark. So we have a telegraph pole in there. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll show you the zoomed in view. So we have a 40 car marker, so that means we're 40 car lengths out of the siding here at Quorn. And again, that was used in the days before radios, as we explained earlier. All right, let's go. Okay, we're gonna zip you ahead again. So in home time it's 2:45. Oh my God, this took way longer than I thought it would. I thought we would be much more efficient. All right, so we have yet another telegraph pole with some signage on it coming up. This is one that I just saw today. So this is a recent addition to the list. Where's my marker? There's my marker. The pole is way in there. Again, gives you an idea of how far back the grade was cleared, right? So the pole is considerably in there. Again, I'll show you the view, the zoomed in view. So again, 60 car marker on the pole. Okay, chugging along here. Going through another cut here. This looks like a little bit of a till ridge, or it could be like an esker. I hope we're not going to get another shot of snow here. This will not give it up. Oh, this is another one here. This is another new one that we saw. Sorry. So we have yet another pole. This is one I just found today. So you can see there's a 90 car marker. I'll give you the zoomed in view. All right. Let's hustle over to the trestle. Let's give the lens a wipe because I can feel stuff coming down again. All right, we're gonna hold up here, and then the bridge is just ahead, and then after the bridge we're almost done. So let's pause here momentarily.